Hello, and welcome to Startups in Real Life. Today, we're continuing a special Founder Spotlight series with the CEO of Bear River, the creators of BearTracks, the pioneer of last mile mail and parcel management solutions. We also have some special guests to introduce, so let's get to it. Hello, welcome everybody. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hi, Diana.
Good, thank you.
Great, great. In our last episode, we talked about the exciting journey that Bear River has been on, and a bit about the company's future and how your products, BearTracks, is continuing to lead innovation in the industry. We would love to dive deeper into the topic. So let's start with a proper introduction of Chris and Sara, because Swati, we met you in the last one and heard all about your background. So Chris, Sara, could you give us a little bit about yourselves?
Awesome, yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Diana. I'm Chris Bucher. I'm the Senior Director of Sales and Business Development for Bear River. I've been with the company about 2 months, but prior to that, I worked in the outsourcing industry doing on-site mail services and logistics management for a number of different large outsourcing companies. Interestingly enough, that's how I came across Swati and Bear River. Used the product in the past and was amazed at the difference once I saw what was under the hood here.
Awesome. Sara?
Yeah, I'm Sara Mathies. I've been with Bear River now for about 6 months. I come from about 34 years of industry experience in the mail, shipping, receiving industry. Some of it in outsourcing, some of it in direct management of production, print to mail. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, what the two of you bring to the team is amazing. Sara, I'd love to hear, well, actually from both of you, but starting with you, Sara, you were there from the outside, and now here you are inside Bear River and the product, understanding BearTracks. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see now that makes us so different?
Sure, it's interesting coming on in. From the outside, I always considered BearTracks like the Cadillac system for tracking of packages. And coming in, I really see the holistic approach from the whole engineering team to accounting, account management, and just how everybody works together and they live and breathe BearTracks. I mean, that is our life. And what is also amazing is just what is being invested in BearTracks today.
Yeah, I think Swati has said before, you're a small but mighty team, and that makes you incredibly agile and able to move quickly. And we're seeing that just even in the last 60 days. Chris, as veterans as a veteran in last mile logistics, can you share a little about the definition of the industry that BearTracks dominates? Because there may be some people listening to this that may not be clear on what is the scope of this particular industry.
Absolutely, yeah. And as I alluded to before, it's very interesting to see what was under the hood here. With BearTracks, it's software as a service, but it's really that last S, that service, that's really impressive to see. Sara being on the team, myself, Swati, and the engineering and QA team behind it there, it's really the workflow management that is so impressive. It's not just a software platform, it's really that service, and it's end-to-end, from the very beginning of an engagement throughout the engagement. And I liken it somewhat to what Sara and I came from in our backgrounds in the outsourcing industry, where typically you buy a software platform, you install it, and you don't hear from anyone until it's time to pay the bill again, right?
Yep.
Here it's a relationship that starts at the very beginning and goes throughout the entire relationship, helping end users and clients with their operations, right? Help take friction out of their processes. And that's really how we build relationships, but that really is a huge differentiator for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Swati, with the, what he's kind of touching on, and we're going to go further into how workflow really is such a key part of what makes you different and your ability to really customize that. But Swati, what trends are you seeing now? Because you also have had decades in this industry. And so what are you seeing today that makes you so confident that Bear River will continue to lead the space with the BearTracks platform?
So I think we are working very closely with our customers that we've had for 20 plus years. But now more than ever, we are so invested. We're working very, very closely with the customers we've had for a long time and the prospects that are coming along our way. What we are realizing is that the mail and package industry, which was a corner and maybe an afterthought for a lot of times is not an afterthought anymore. It's the realization that these mail and packages are actually have an effect on the operation of the company, right? So people are investing in technology, people are investing in right people, processes, because a lot of our for our tech companies, that the tech is coming through the mailroom, and for the teams to have access to them timely and not losing money and losing the prototypes or the important hardware that's coming in, which is really important for the engineering teams, right? So I think the focus is shifting from being that, oh, this is not important, right? So everywhere, people are realizing that we need optimizations, we need an enterprise levels system for the big tech companies that need data throughout, right? There needs to be better reporting, there needs to be better analytics, there need to be SLAs that need to be in place, because there's a lot of money and time lost if that's not in place.
And how much of this do you think, came into play because of the world, or at least the US, dominantly going to hybrid work, environments? Do you think that sped up the need for not just parcels, but white mail and, just anything that comes through the mailroom being watched so closely and understanding when it literally gets delivered? Can you tell me, what you think about that piece of it?
I think you touched on a very good point. Pandemic had brought in a new factors, like for mail especially, and forwarding. The trends for parcel and mail had been increased much before the pandemic. Like we were seeing that big companies are receiving 5 to 10,000 packages a day, and a lot of it was even personal packages.
Yeah.
That is the service to the customer, to their employees, right? It shifted dramatically when during COVID or pandemic, right? And I think because we are small and agile, we had the capability to just adapt to the needs of the customers and change the workflows, that now the packages are being shipped to their homes or being delivered to the homes. Or now we have digital mail that you can digitize the mail and send it, because the legal teams are not on site and they need access to that mail right away.
Yep.
So
Yep.
a lot has shifted, and you're right. In some ways, like at least for digital mail or mail in general, it had become important to have access to systems, to reliable enterprise-wide systems.
Yeah, I think the value of that now, right? The value of those communications throughout the pandemic. I think the biggest transformation that we've seen was the fact that people need to be able to interact with their work, right, wherever they happen to be. Yeah. And the other piece to it too is, as folks were working from home and they had their packages coming home, being able to see all of those different breadcrumbs along the way with their Amazon deliveries and so on. Now they're in the work environment or they're working outside of the work environment, and they expect that same level of detail. And that's really one of our huge differentiators, is those workflows with that tracking and traceability at every step of the way, to Swati's point.
So you mentioned Amazon. I was going to say, that's a good way to kind of show the parallel, right? We've all been so conditioned to be able to even watch that truck as it's driving to our house, or DoorDash, but the fact that BearTracks is now doing that is amazing. But you touch on workflows. Let's dive deeper on that, Sara. So, BearTracks onboarding process, and why is it such a critical component to the success of the company, and that touches on the differentiation of what you're doing versus others?
Sure. So we start the onboarding process with analysis. We want to understand your current environment, how packages move through the environment, who touches it, at what point, when is communication needed back to the recipient, how do you handle problem packages, things of that nature. So we start with the customer and with their processes, and be able to document that, and then analyze and look at, okay, could you be doing something a little bit different? Or do we, introduce this piece of our software technology to be able to increase their productivity, increase their data accuracy, and have overall vision into the packages that come into to a corporation. So that's where we really start. And, you know, and that's I think a very key component of our onboarding process.
You know, and knowing that, you know, if I'm a customer, that I get to work with someone like you who's been in so many mail rooms, you know, and that you understand the difference between one industry and another industry and the workflows within those, and even the CEOs within those, and what happens in that environment, you know, at the executive level, even, you know, down to management and then to the individual contributors. I think that in itself is huge. And having both of you on board, you know, Chris, you at the front, and then Sara following up as the client starts the onboarding, I think is invaluable, you know. And you know, one of the things, and I know we're not going to go into pricing necessarily, but one of the things that comes to me when you guys are talking about that is sometimes, you know, that means it's going to cost a lot of money to even get you to come and talk to me, you know, to do that onboarding. Can you maybe, Swati, I'll put you on the hot seat on this. Can you tell me, you know, is that something to be concerned about as a client?
I would say no. I think we've given a pricing a lot of thought. And in the last 2 years, we've really tried the S that Chris was talking about, service, right?
Uh-huh.
Because we are a SaaS company and our pricing is really streamlined and it's very predictable, which pricing is based on volumes. And it's really all of our services are just included in that. It's very predictable, it's very manageable, and it's designed to scale and basically to support our customers. And I think that's the beauty of it, that we've been, as BearTracks, we've been in the industry for 20 plus years, right, with our software. We all realize and we all know what budgets we have and how tight constraints they are in the mailroom, right? So I think we are operating within budgets. We're trying to do what we best we can, but being small, and it gives us the agility to perform best where we can and still strive for excellence and continue to provide the best service we can.
And what that says to any potential client listening is you don't have to be afraid of professional service fees. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. Am I right? Yeah, because that's what all of us are afraid of when we go into any of these SaaS companies. It's just like, am I going to get something that I can't even use? And then I'm going to spend 6 months paying for it, but I can't even fully use it yet. And the answer with BearTracks is no. You're going to be handheld through this, you know, a whole process through it all. So Chris, I'm gonna put you now in the spotlight. So give me your elevator pitch. Why BearTracks?
Because it is truly, it's truly software as a service, and service is the key. And so from the very beginning of the relationship, throughout the relationship, you have folks like Sara, and the company, our entire basis is consultative. It's, you know, taking integrity, open, honest communications, and really being consultative as opposed to just, here's your product, be with it and I'll come back later, right? Every step of the way, it's a true partnership or building a relationship that's long lasting. And so the history of always having these long-standing relationships is fantastic, but in the future, it's how can we help you on a consultative basis to ensure that we're taking friction out of your pain wherever it may be.
Which touches on what I wanted to talk to Swati about the customer focus and their voice being a part of the entire process. So, you know, I see you smiling over there, Swati, and, you know, hearing what your team is saying. But I'd love for you to kind of share what you see as the future in bringing the customer voice even closer. And I mean, you guys are constantly going to customer site, hearing what they have to say, listening to feature requests, understanding, you know, what their needs are so that you can address them before it becomes a pain point. You know, tell me what you're working on, you know, to continue to bring them even closer into the process.
That's a really good question, Diana. I think our focus as a complete company is on customer voice. And what we are doing now to even build on what we've had before is including the engineering team, the support team, the account management team, the sales team. We all sit in one room and we talk about what do we want to be as a company. What service do we want to provide? How can we help our customers? We're constantly bringing our engineers to the customer sites as well so that they get to see firsthand. And more than that, we are, as we said, consulting piece. Even our engineers are consultants who worked in the industry for a long time. They know how to assess customer problems, consult on it. And right now we're focusing on building the customer's voice within development. Like one team is going to be customer voice. So the customers will have an input on uh, every stream of work we are doing, and every release that we do, we're going to sit with them and say, hey, this is the work we're going to do. What is a priority for you? And that will be included, and they will have visibility into our releases, into our sprints. And so we are hoping to be really agile from development till the installation, account management throughout the whole relationship.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the few companies I've heard that, people talk about customer-centric organizations, but you guys really walk the talk. It's amazing. I love it. There's so much to talk about. Where would you like to go in our next conversation, Swati? Maybe just to put out a little, teaser for the next topics you're considering.
So I think you've left me with a lot to think about and say about with tech. I think the next conversation we want to revolve around tech, and I might bring in our CTO and a few of the folks from the engineering team to continue talking about that.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Can't wait. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was a good chat, and I look forward to talking the next time, and I hope to see Chris, you, and Sarah more. Take care.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you so much,
Diana.
Diana.
This was great. Thank you.